Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Racing Show here at RacePlazaMedia. My name is Pia, and today we're going to talk about the 6 things you need to know for the Le Mans 2024 race happening this weekend. We here at RacePlazaMedia are super excited about this weekend's race. We will actually be live streaming a watch party for the entire 24 plus hours of the race, so definitely tune in and join us at any point during the race. We will start our live stream Saturday 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time until the end of the race, whenever that may happen, hopefully promptly on Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But before we even get to that, let's talk about the 6 things you need to know to be ready for Le Mans 2024.
First things first, we of course want to cover what, when, and where when it comes to Le Mans. So what is Le Mans? Well, Le Mans is a 24-hour endurance race that happens once a year in France, in Le Mans at the Le Mans circuit. And we have a total of 62 cars racing at the same time. When is Le Mans happening? Le Mans is happening this upcoming weekend starting June 15th and it's ending June 16th. For me, I'm located in Los Angeles, California. So starting time for me is Saturday the 15th at 7 a.m. And finishing time, of course, will be Sunday at 7 a.m. as well. Of course, this depends on where you're located, but I will drop a link down below so where you can check it out, or also an easy way to find out when Le Mans is starting based on your location is to just Google it, and Google will give you the starting time based on your region. And then, of course, very, very important, where can you watch Le Mans? So this, once again, really depends on where you are located. However, as always, I will be dropping the link down below so you can figure out exactly based on your location and how you can watch it. If you're located in the US, like me, you can watch it actually included in your HBO Max subscription. So do not purchase the World Endurance Championship TV subscription because you will not need it to watch Le Mans this year. It is already included in the HBO Max subscription. If you are located in a different country or a different part of the world, as I said, I will drop the link down below. They have an app where you can watch it on there as well, and they also have a website if you have to go through the World Endurance Championship TV app. We made a video about how the app is, so I highly recommend checking that out first. Or if you don't want to watch the video, just, try out the app before, because I've had a lot of issues using it in the past for different races. So just be prepared, because you don't want to be there at the race start and it doesn't work. And of course, besides streaming, you are able to watch Le Mans live. Of course, you can attend the event. Currently, through the official website, everything has been sold out. However, they do have a resale, and their currently tickets run for 103 euros per person. So if you are able to attend it, go ahead and check it out and see if you can still snatch up some tickets.
Next up, we have the vehicle categories. There are 3 different types of vehicle competing at Le Mans 2024. We have the Hypercar, LMP2, as well as LMGT3. Let's dive into a little bit more into those different categories. First off, we have the Hypercar, which is the top category in terms of vehicles. There will also be starting off the race in the front. The idea of the Hypercar was created back in 2018 between the FIA as well as the ACO. They envisioned the Hypercar, and it didn't really debut until 2021. However, most people are saying that now it is finally coming to its full glory of what was originally envisioned in terms of the Hypercar. The cool thing about the Hypercar is that the Le Mans Hypercars as well as the Le Mans Daytona Hypercar have regulations, but they're more technical regulations that there's a lot more freedom in the regulations than in some of the other vehicle categories. Meaning there are more variety in the technical approaches as well as the aesthetic approaches, and the car brands are able to keep their brand identity within the vehicle. Of course, there are performance limits as well as cost limits to make the playing field a little bit more equal. So this year at 2024 Le Mans, we have a total of 23 hypercars on the entry list. which vary in terms of car brands because we have 9 different car brands entering in the hypercar category, including Alpine, Ferrari, Cadillac, Porsche, and several others. And before we move on to the LMP2 category, I wanted to throw a couple of facts at you in terms of the hypercar. Horsepower is 680, top speed is 202 miles per hour. The minimum weight of the car is 1,030 kilograms, and the average lap time estimated is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. However, last year's top lap time was around 3 minutes and 27 seconds. Before we move on to one last thing I want to mention about the hypercar, of course, you'll be able to visually differentiate between the different categories. However, there's also the numbers on the vehicles will have different colors. So the numbers on the hypercars will be in red for you to see. Moving on to the LMP2 category. So for this one, you must know that the FIA World Endurance Championship does not include the LMP2 category in their championships anymore. You'll be able to see them in the IMSA Sports Car Championship as well as the European Le Mans Championship if you're curious about watching it outside of the Le Mans race this weekend. For the LMP2 category, we have 16 entries for Le Mans 2024, and all of them will be driving with the Oreca chassis. Their Gibson 4.2-liter V8 engine provides them with up to 600 horsepower for the race, and their average lap time at Le Mans is about 3 minutes and 36 seconds. And to easily identify the LMP2 vehicles during the race, just look for the blue numbers on the vehicles. And lastly, we have the LMGT3 category, which you might remember last year as the LMGTE category. This is a 2-door road legal sports car, which is a category aimed and focused towards private entries and amateur drivers. We'll get into some more details about the different driver categories later in this video, so definitely stay tuned for that. However, in the meantime, let me give you some more information about the LMGT3 category. The top speed of these vehicles is around 180 miles per hour, and the average lap time is around 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And I'm sure you'll easily be able to spot the LMGT3 category on the track. However, they're also indicated by the orange numbers on the vehicle. And this year we have 23 entries on the grid for Le Mans 2024, including a variety of car brands, including the Aston Martin, BMW, Lamborghini, Ferrari, and many, many more. There you have it. Those are the 3 different vehicle types you will be encountering in the main categories during the Le Mans race 2024.
So another thing that we wanted to cover with you guys is the safety car procedure. Last year, the safety car procedure was very much overhauled when it comes to Le Mans, and it ended up causing a lot of wait time when it comes to safety car. So in total, we ended up having over 3 hours of just safety car procedures during Le Mans. So this year, to help that, to cut back some of that time, they ended up switching up some of the safety car procedure again. So the way it works is when the safety car is essentially sent out during Le Mans, because it's such a long track and we have so many cars on the track, you actually have 3 safety cars at the same time on the track. All of them are equal distance from each other. And then after things have been cleared up, the merge system will happen. So that means safety car B and C will leave the track. After safety car B and C have left the track, everyone will line up behind safety car A and will drive the track on a single file lane. Then what will happen next is that cars will have the opportunity to unlap themselves. So we no longer do the drop back. The drop back feature was essentially meaning that every car in every category will align itself within each other. This time we're no longer doing that, and only cars that are currently positioned ahead of someone, even though they're technically behind, I know that's a little confusing, but they have the opportunity to unlap themselves before the safety car will return to the pit, and then the race will continue. This will be very interesting considering that we have a wide variety of cars on the track. So you have GT3 cars, you have LMP2 cars, and of course you have the hypercars. So it will be really interesting, especially for the hypercars, if they're going to be restarting the race behind a GT3 car. So we'll see how that will fold out, because I'm sure there will be a lot of people who are upset. Because, of course, if you're in a hypercar, the blue flag is usually shown to the GT3 car. However, if the GT3 car is currently in a battle with another car, they're not going to give up their own race to let another person pass. So this will, I think, create a lot of interesting situations, because this is Le Mans. There will be safety cars. There's no way we're going to go 24 hours without a safety car. However, this new procedure will definitely, I think, speed things up, because we don't have to drop back anymore, as I mentioned. However, now that people no longer will align themselves within their individual categories, things are gonna get interesting.
Let's talk about the different driver categories for the different vehicles at Le Mans 2024. So as mentioned, we have 3 different vehicle types. We have the hypercar, the LMP2, and the LMGT3. And of course, there's a little bit differentiation in rules for the different drivers. Starting at the top with the hypercar, teams have free reins how they want to categorize or what different types of drivers they want to bring in. However, they are not allowed to bring in a bronze driver, since this is the top category at Le Mans racing. And in this hypercar category, you'll be able to see many familiar faces if you are an F1 fan, a long-term F1 fan, because there are many drivers from over the years on that grid, including Jenson Button, Kubica, Nick De Vries, Mick Schumacher, and several others. For the LMP2 category, out of the 3 drivers, at least one of them has to be a bronze or silver driver. However, there cannot be 2 platinum drivers in the same vehicle. And for the LMGT3 category, the teams have the option to decide if they want to have 2 or 3 drivers, and they have to have at least 1 bronze driver and then 1 additional bronze or silver driver. Of course, in LMGT3, we have a higher request for our lower driver categories in terms of the bronze as well as silver driver, just because the category is aimed towards the gentleman driver, the amateur driver. And now in terms of drive time for the LMP2 as well as the LMGT3 category, the bronze and silver drivers have a minimum drive time of 6 hours and a maximum drive time of 14 hours.
Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Le Mans track itself. We're going to take a look at one of my iRacing laps that I did recently. This was prior to me having already my lesson with the coach. However, I think this track is really, really interesting, and there's a few things I want to highlight. Obviously, what I'm going to be doing is not nearly at the level of what the people will be doing on Saturday at Le Mans, but it will give us a good idea of the track itself. Especially, so now coming into this corner, this is a really, really fast double right hand. However, if you shave off too much time, we're going to get into one of the long straights that you have in the Le Mans track. And this can really, really cost you, because obviously this is where a lot of people will be catching slipstream. This is where they're going to try to do overtaking. And so the more time you shave off, or the more speed you shave off, obviously going into this, the less speed you will have, and people will be able to pounce on you. This corner right here is also really, really interesting. In iRacing, you have to hit the brakes here. Obviously, I think you guys can see it. My brake lights are coming on. Then you cut right here, and then you can actually jump back on the gas pedal here for a hot moment. And then you get back onto the brakes, and then it goes into this really, really slow left-hand corner, and then you can speed up. But this is also something that I really, really love to do and then brake here too late, and then you immediately mess up this really tight right-hand corner like I just did. I've gotten better at it, but faster. This corner right here, so you have these 2 turns, and they have actually here, this one right here was this corner right here last year was a really, really big wipeout section. because these curbs on the left and on the right do tend to get really, really slippery. So we had a lot of cars that slipped off of this curb right here and the one prior to that, and then they either ended up on the right side. Most of the time, however, because you have the sand trap, hopefully it will protect you from hitting the wall, but a lot of times you do end up getting stuck in there. And then we do also had some drivers that ended up slipping out here and then ended up going into the barrier on the left side as well. I believe this is also the corner, once again, not to bring him up all the time, but we just did a video about it. Michael Fassbender, this is where he kind of wiped out and he put the car into the wall, which was really, really unfortunate. But last year was very, very difficult race. You had rain at night, and that's just not easy conditions. And even though, of course, it stopped raining, the track stayed wet for a long time. Also because, of course, at night you don't really have any sun. That's how nighttime works. Anyways, we have that last left turn corner here, and then it goes into the straight and through the finish line. And a really, really interesting thing about this as well is because you have 62 cars on the track at the same time, these cars will all have to go through this double chicane, and of course they're going to try to stay as close as the other person. You don't want to give up the edge, especially by a start. We're probably going to have some restarts, so you really don't want to sleep on this. And I think especially after the safety car procedures open, these corners right here, because we have a mixed field, we're no longer doing the drop back, as I explained earlier. This is where it's really going to get interesting during the restarts. That's what I'm suspecting. You guys let us know, of course, in the comments what you guys are thinking. This, once again, was my iRacing lap time. Not a professional. There are people out there. My coach, Gianni, he did a cool 355 while I'm still chilling at a full 6. So I'm not showing you guys this once again because of my skill, just to take a look at the track.
Lastly, let me break down for you what the 24-hour Le Mans race is composed of. First of all, we have a test day that happens much earlier before the actual race happens. This year, the test day happened on June 9th. Then in the week leading up to it, of course, we have several practice sessions as well as a qualifying session. So let me break this down a little bit more for you. So basically, we have 3 free practice sessions. The first one is an hour, the second one is 2 hours, and the third one is 3 hours. The first 2 happen the Wednesday before the race, and then the third practice session happens on the Thursday. On the Wednesday before the race, we also have the 1-hour qualifying session for the different categories. And on Wednesday, we also have a 1-hour qualifying session for the individual categories. Then, based on the results of that qualifying session, the top 8 from each individual category will move on to the second qualifying session on Thursday, which is also called the Hyperpole session, which is 30 minutes per category. Then the day of the race, there will be a 15-minute warm-up lap or warm-up laps in the day prior to the start of the race, since the race starts at 3 p.m. local time in France. Then the race starts with a formation lap, of course, and then for the Le Mans race, it typically starts in a rolling start with the hypercar category leading the pack. LMP2 is second, and then the LMGT3 category is last of the pack. And then that kicks off the at least 24-hour race. We will see if there's going to be any safety cars. I'm sure there will be. And then if the race will be extended, because the last World Endurance Championship race was extended by several hours due to a large delay because of a crash on the track. So we will see what happens this year. I mean, last year's Le Mans race was absolute insanity with the weather, the rain. So we will see how things go this weekend. I did check the weather because I was curious if we will be having some rain this year at Le Mans again, and it looks like on Saturday it will start off pretty dry. It will be cloudy with a 25% chance of rain, which will increase as we go through the night because Sunday's chance of rain is currently by 85%. So we will see, I mean, a rainy night race is always very exciting, but it's also incredibly dangerous. If you look at some of the clips of the onboard camera from vehicles driving at night, I mean, it is scary. I personally don't like driving at night as is already, so I cannot imagine driving at those speeds at night at a poorly lit racetrack, but that's just part of the game, right? So we will see. Definitely tune in, join us for our watch party for Le Mans 2024.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We do really appreciate it. Don't forget to, let us know in the comments if you're going to be watching Le Mans, who you're rooting for. And of course, don't forget to check out our live stream. Once again, we are doing a 24-hour live hangout, so you can come and chat with us and just hang out and have a good time. 24 hours is a long time to stay up. So if you need help, we are there for you. And hopefully you guys are there for us. And then as always, thank you guys once again so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe. And we will be seeing you guys on Saturday at Le Mans. Or at least in a live stream. Bye-bye.